Wednesday the 18th, and what a day. Absolutely everything hit. Let's go over the recap. So first of all, if you're joining us for the first time, what is this all about? So what we do is we send via Telegram, we post trade alerts for 6 futures instruments, and our group members receive them. So this time it was around a bit after 6 p.m. Eastern. So shortly after Globex Open, we send these alerts to our members, which are to be traded the following day. So basically, these alerts are good for around 20 hours or so. So yesterday, these were the alerts, and every single instrument hit. Let me just show you some screenshots. Okay, so all these are my trades, and later I'm going to show you the group members trades. So this was the S&P, and again, we just target around $100 per E-mini contract, so 2 points on a ES. This was what? This was the gold. The trigger was at 17. You go for 10 ticks. Next was the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is 5 points, and that trigger was at 655. Oil was along at 81.65, I believe, and we go for 10 ticks to get our 100. So this is the Russell. We look for 20 ticks on the Russell, and the trigger was at 1901. And finally, the YM, which hit relatively late in the day. We had to wait until the sell-off, but it did trigger and got our 20 ticks on the YM. Yeah, so everyone in the group today hit their targets. So starting with our European traders who trade relatively early. I'm not awake yet, but this looks like an oil trade. They triggered at 81.65. We did roll to the March contract. So there was another one. This looks like maybe the Nasdaq. This is probably gold. Yep. Everyone's hitting targets today. Then throughout the day, just a whole bunch of traders. Everyone is profitable. Another one. This one took a bit of heat, but not an issue. Yeah, so just everyone did really, really well. And this one they just got now. A short. I guess this trader shorted a bounce. So yeah, really well. So now let's take a look at the larger charts. So the Nasdaq was a buy at 11,655 or a sell at 11,574. So of course, in the beginning, that's when we all made our money on the Nasdaq. Trigger up and gave you over 100 points on the upside, before then collapsing lower and triggering the short side. But I think by this time, most people were already done here. But if you weren't, for whatever reason, definitely the Nasdaq gave you a nice short at 574. The S&P was a buy at 4,026 or a sell at 39.87. So again, the long side triggered. We look for 2 points on S&P to hit our target. So first triggered on the long side, and then looks like still selling off, triggered on the short side. The Russell was a buy at 1901, a sell at 1885. So first the long side triggered. gave you way more than 20 ticks, about 14 points here, then triggered on the short side, and looks like still coming down here. So again, it's the kind of day that both sides got triggered, but most people in our group made money on the long side. The Dow, YM was a buy at 34,145 or a sell at 33,895. So full disclosure, YM did not trigger at first. Really had to wait. So what I was looking at was this ugly, ugly chart. And I told the room members to avoid taking the alert. And for that, I have to apologize. You know, it goes to show you when I come up, when I find these prices, they are completely objective, right? I have no emotional attachment to the alert prices, but I am a human being. So when I see this now emotionally, I get apprehensive. And my advice to the group members was don't take the alert if it triggers. Well, what happened was this, and my apologies. The alerts are objective. I am a human being, and I feel responsible for the group members. I definitely want to keep them out of trouble if I think something is going on. I was kind of afraid this kind of a chop that we saw the first half hour or so would just continue throughout the day. Instead, the short triggers and just the Dow collapses. And I think most group members missed out on this trade. Again, I apologize. The alerts are what they are, but we are people, so we have some challenges. Gold was a buy at 1917 or a sell at 1905. So I think first the long side triggered. Yeah, for sure the long side triggered first before the market opened about around 7 a.m. Eastern, gave you a lot more than 10 ticks. Then came down during session open, did come down, again gave you 10 ticks, and again gave you 10 ticks. And as I say, if you start to get too many triggers consecutively, be careful. Even though on this third time here, price never came back up. But even if it would, I would say after first, second time, just be careful. There is no reason for them to keep on testing it unless they plan to just break it the other way. Sure enough, they broke it the other way, not enough to trigger a short yet, but at this point, I wouldn't advise to trade anyway. So gold definitely worked out on the long side, and I think group members all took the long trades on gold. Right, crude oil. Crude oil, which we rolled to March, was a buy at 81.65 or a sell at 80.43. So triggered first during London Open at some point. Yeah. Okay, so this was the first trigger during the European session. Came up, definitely gave you more than 10 ticks required for the trade to be successful. But then look what it does during the pit session, US pit session at 9 o'clock. Just comes down, tests it a little bit, and right back out. So even those of us who trade during US session easily grabbed this long in oil. All right, so overall, just a phenomenal day today. We all did really well. Again, if you want to join the group, just email me. My email is in the description. Thank you, guys.